What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got an AHA Top 10 brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron of the channel, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Always appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons that make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the end screen. The patrons make this thing happen. I only know 3 songs from AHA. The 2 hits in America, Take On Me, and then the follow-up, The Sun Always Shines on TV. And then I know The Living Daylights because I just did a James Bond top 10 for another patron, Evan David. So I know those 3 songs. I don't know any of the rest of them. I know that even though they were basically a one-hit wonder here in the States, they were much bigger in other parts of the world. So let's get into this one. Richard says, I've seen these guys live only once, but they put on a great stage show. From what I know, they are considered a one-hit wonder in the States, but on this side of the pond have had many hits. And so here's a little background on AHA. They're a Norwegian synth pop band formed in Oslo in 1982. Founded by Paul Waaktaar Savoy, Magna Fur Holman on keyboards and guitars and vocals, and Morten Harket on vocals. I know, guys, I butchered those names. I do the best I can. The band rose to fame during the mid-'80s. They achieved their biggest success with their debut album, Hunting High and Low, in 1985. Peaked at #1 in their native country, Norway, #2 in the UK, and #15 in the US. Yielded 2 international #1 singles, Take On Me and The Sun Always Shines on TV, and earned the band a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. In the UK, Hunting High and Low continued its chart success into the following year, becoming one of the best-selling albums of 1986. They released studio albums in 86, 88, and 90, with hits including Hunting High and Low, The Living Daylights, Stay on These Roads, and Crying in the Rain. In 1994, after their 5th studio album, Memorial Beach, failed to achieve the commercial success of their previous albums, they went on hiatus. Following a performance at the Nobel Peace Prize concert in 98, they recorded their 6th album, 2000's Minor Earth, Major Sky, which is another #1 album in Norway and Germany. This album was followed by Lifelines in 02, Analog in 05, which is certified silver in the UK, and Foot of the Mountain in 09, which is certified silver in the UK. It reached the top 5 in many European countries. In 2015, it was announced they would reunite. Their 10th studio album, Cast and Steel, was released in September of 2015, and they toured in support of that. All total, they have 10 studio albums, several compilations, 4 live albums. They sold more than 100 million units, albums, and singles combined. So not just albums, but everything combined, but that's still an insane number. So, as always, the music will not be in this video, but it'll be a Vimeo link below. Click on that and follow along with me. I'm gonna have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Richard. Well, let's kick this off at #10. You see it below, Shapes They Go Together from the Memorial Beach album in 1993. I found the single was the official song of the Paralympics in 94, which was held in Lillehammer, Norway. It was written by Magna and Paul. Went to 27 in the UK, 57 in Germany, 28 in Poland, 15 in Denmark, so it was somewhat of a hit. It was not released on an album until 10 years later when it was released on the Singles 84 to 04 hits album, and a year later on a UK one just like it. So let's check it out. Shapes That Go Together, I guess was the keyboard and the synth. It sounds like a bass on there, right? But there's no bass credit given there that is really good. But kind of a cleverly written song, right? Kind of like opposites attract, where the shapes that go together. When you were wrapped in tangles, I was free. When you were undecided, I believed. And then the chorus, it's all right tonight on a deep blue mountain high, where shapes that go together, you and I. You were filled with longing, I belonged. You were weak from trying, I was strong. So all those different things. He walked 25 miles to see her, but she wasn't there. So yeah, a good song, man. Catchy song, good musicianship. Enjoyed that one. Next up at #9, we got Stay on These Roads from the album Stay on These Roads in 1988. I found it as a lead single. Achieved success in many European countries, including going to #5 in the UK. In Norway, it was their 4th #1 song, their 7th and final top 5 showing in the UK with that #5. Stay on These Roads. I thought Morten's voice sounded absolutely fantastic there, right? The power in it, you could feel his emotion. I think the song Stay on These Roads, he's basically talking to this girl, and you know, they're having issues and there's all these things, but if we stay on this road, like persevere, I think, stay on this path, things are going to work out right and we're going to be together. Maybe that's the optimist in me feeling that, but you know, the chorus, stay on these roads, we shall meet, I know. Stay on, my love, we shall meet, I know, I know. So, I mean, I think, you know, the pre-chorus, old man feels the cold, oh baby, don't, because I've been told, stay on these roads, we shall meet. So, I thought the ambiance and the atmosphere of the song was really good. So, I enjoyed that one. Like that one better than our 10th track. Now at #8, you see it. We got The Living Daylights from the soundtrack, The Living Daylights, in 1987. It's a theme song from the Bond film of the same name. It was written by Paul. John Barry is credited as co-writer and producer, and the initial release of the song was his version. A second version of the song, reworked by a-ha in 1988, later appeared on the third studio album, Stay on These Roads, but we're going to listen to the original. When interviewed on a late night show in 87, John Barry said that while he found working with the band exhausting, secondary to the band's insistence on using their own version of the song for the release. In an interview, Magnus said that the band's fight with Barry left a rather unpleasant aftertaste. He stated that although Barry produced the track, he never contributed to the songwriting process and should not have been credited as such. Duran Duran made the same claims for the previous movie when they did A View to a Kill in 85. However, he's also said, quote, "I love this stuff John Barry added to the track. I mean, it gave this sort of really cool string arrangement. That's when it, for me, started to sound like a Bond thing." This went to 5 in the UK. It didn't even chart here in the US. I didn't know this song. Like I said, I listened to it just a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago of this filming on my Bond top 10. So I'm going to see what I think of this one this second time around. John Barry, the guy that did all the Bond films of the first 12, was very talented guy, but by all accounts, not just by a-ha or Duran Duran, very difficult to work with. So let's check this out. The Living Daylights, obviously tailored to the Bond movie, so the lyrics aren't that important. Once again, I thought they sounded great. When I listened to this on the Bond theme top 10, I didn't really like it that much. I still don't really like it that much, but I like it more the second time. Kind of shows you guys the first reaction to a song is always a little bit tough, right? Because it usually does grow on you. I don't really think it's anything that they did. I think it's just of the time of 87. It sounds very, very synth-driven, just very dated, but it's not a bad song. Now, of course, now we're going to get to the next track, which is from the debut album, where I love the two songs that I know, and it probably sounds, quote, dated too, but I have familiarity with it, right? We got Hunting High and Low, the title track from that 1985 album, fifth and final single from that debut album. Didn't chart in the US, but reached top 5 in UK and Ireland. The original album version was produced by Tony Mansfield and is played with synths. For its single release, the track was remixed, containing additional production by Alan Tarney and features an orchestra. And I'm going with the singles version just because I'm guessing that's what everybody knows. Okay, Hunting High and Low. I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed the production on it. Look, full transparency, I owned this cassette in 1985, right? I owned about every popular piece of music in the 80s that were, chart successes here in the US, which means the quality music wasn't that great at the time. So I own this cassette. I only listened to 2 songs on it, Take On Me and The Sun Always Shines on TV. That's just the way we did it back in the day. So I never heard this song, but I thought it was really good. I mean, the idea of the song is he's in love with this girl and now she leaves, but he tells her he's going to always look for her. He's going to be hunting high and low only for her. But I thought a little bit of a haunting musical or vocal performance there. Now at number 6, we have The Sun Always Shines on TV from that same album, Hunting High and Low, in 1985. Third single, 1 in UK, 20 in US, the only other hit in the US. It sold over 5 million copies worldwide. Paul said, "We wrote this song that Andrew Wickham's secretary felt was a hit. She convinced him to make room for it. When we recorded it, we were really sick with influenza. Magda and Morton were lying in the studio on camping beds with high fevers." Wow. The oboe during the song was played on a sampler. A critic from AllMusic later wrote, "The Sun Always Shines on TV is just as thrilling as Take On Me. Starting as a sad ballad, it explodes into something much more, as chugging guitars and operatic synths keep pace with Harcourt's evocative vocal stylings. If ever a 1980s song qualified as wall of sound, this would be it." That's why I just wanted you guys to hear. I thought that was a really good a good breakdown of the song. U2 stated that it heavily influenced the composition of their 2000 huge hit, Beautiful Day. Bono paid tribute to it by combining the 2 songs at a concert in Oslo in 2005. And the creators of, I didn't know this, of the very popular show in the US, I mean, not very popular, but it's been around forever. Creators of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have stated that the name of their show is an indirect reference to this song. The co-creator of that show, Glenn Howerton, came up with the title It's Always Sunny on TV for the original home movie about 3 vain actors in LA after listening to Hunting High and Low at the gym. The home movie later evolved into a television pilot with the now familiar title. So I haven't heard this song in years and years. I used to love this song. I just think this song's fantastic, man. But like, it's been 30 years? I don't know. Let's check it out. The Sun Always Shines on TV. I love that song. That song's a great song, man. I don't care what anybody says. That song is a great song. Everything from the build, right, to just rocking into it. I mean, Morton sounds fantastic. Just everything about it, man. It's freaking good. the play on the words, "The sun always shines on TV." And he's basically saying, my life is rough. He's dealing with some anxiety. He talks about it in the first verse, looking in the mirror and these things. But the sun always shines on TV because in TVs and movies, not all movies or TV shows, but we paint the world in a different picture. Most of the time, there's a happy ending, a feel good outcome to the story, and that is not exactly real life. But the keyboards in there were fantastic. Good job programming. The drums and the bass are programmed, but they sound really good. So a really good way to end the first half of this list. We're going to kick off the top half of the AHA Top 10, Richard's Top 10, with Lifelines, the MTV Unplugged version from Lifelines in 2002. Second single went to 78 in the UK. MTV Unplugged Summer Solstice is a live album released in October of 2017 as part of the MTV Unplugged series. It was recorded live at the Harbor Hall at Ocean Sound Recordings in Norway in June of 2017. So even though the album came out in 2002, this is a fairly recent version, 5 years ago in June of 2017. Lifeline's really good performance, right? Only 5 years ago, these guys were older at the time. Just sounded fantastic. Sounded studio quality. I used to love the Unplugged series back in the 90s, guys. I'm old. I used to watch it when they came on MTV when there was a newer thing. The song itself, just about give me one more chance of this. I just want one chance to do this, one chance to do that. Kind of what we ask for in life sometimes, especially as we get older. Man, I just want one shot at doing this. So I thought it was a really good choice. That was a really good touch by Richard on this to use the Unplugged performance. Next up at number 4, we got Crying in the Rain. From the East of the Sun, West of the Moon album in 1990. It's a song composed by Carole King with lyrics by Howard Greenfield, originally recorded by American duo the Everly Brothers. I know this song. The single peaked, not the AHA version, at 6 in the U.S. since 1962. In 1981, American country singer Tammy Wynette did it and became a major hit that year. And then in 89, of course, for this 90 album, AHA covered it. It was the first single taken from this album. Following its success, they became closer to the Everly Brothers, who had originally recorded the song, as I mentioned. The band members were presented a set of guitars by the Everly Brothers that AHA continues to use. That's pretty cool, man. Popular internationally, topped the charts in Norway and peaked at number 13 in the UK. Crying in the Rain. Fascinating to me that they covered the song and then made it their lead single, right? A different interpretation of the song. I really enjoyed it. Actually had real drumming on here, not drum programming on here, but I thought Morton sounded great, and it was a very good version of it. Like I said, quite different. I like the rain effects at the start and finish. Nice little touch there. The song itself, as a lot of songs back in the day, was either about "I'm so glad we're in love" or we broke up and I'm heartbroken. This falls on the broken up and heartbroken thing because Crying in the Rain, he doesn't want her to see. Or, when it was sung from a woman's perspective, the guy to see. They want your significant other, or former significant other, to see that you're crying, right? That it's not bothering you and you want to hide that. So hopefully it's going to rain and then you won't be able to tell those are tears in my eyes. You'll think it's the raindrops. So, good job on that one. And here we go. The one that many of you might have thought was number 1. Number 3, Take On Me from Hunt High and Low in 1985. I've got a lot of info on this because it needs a lot of info, right? It's iconic. The original version recorded in 84 was produced by Tony Mansfield and remixed by John Ratcliffe. The 85 international hit version was produced by Alan Tarney for their debut album. The recording combines synth pop with a varied instrumentation, including acoustic guitars, keyboards, and drums. The original 1984 version failed to chart in the UK, as did the second version in the first of its 2 1985 releases. The second of these 85 releases charted in September of 85, 2 in the UK, 1 in the US. No doubt bolstered and absolutely bolstered by the video on MTV, Steve Barron's innovative music video. Featured the band in a live-action pencil sketch animation sequence. The video won 6 awards and was nominated for 2 others at the 1986 MTV Video Music Awards, in addition to an incalculably high view count from heavy rotations it received on MTV. When it was originally released, the music video on YouTube has received more than 1.4 billion views. And that's way, way, way after the song was popular, right? It originated from Paul and Magna's previous band Bridges, who first composed a number called the Juicy Fruit song when they were 15 and 16 years old. Initially, they felt the riff was too pop-oriented for their band, thus the first version of the song was more punky, in an attempt to offset the riff. First take of the song was inspired in part by Doors member Ray Manzarek and his, quote, almost mathematical but very melodic structured way of playing. We got all the Doors albums with Morrison up if you want to check those out at some point. Soon after Bridges disbanded, Wakhtar and Firm relocated to London to try their hand in the music industry there, but returned to Norway after 6 months of disappointment. They were joined by their school friend, singer Morten Harket, who heard the song and said the keyboard riff had the character of a universal hit sound. Thank goodness for Morten, right? The three began working on demos, and the band returned to London in search of a recording contract. They intended the song to show off Harket's vocal range, which led to his vocals doing this spiraling thing. The story is concluded in the opening of The Sun Always Shines on TV music video. Guys, I cannot overemphasize to you, I was 14 at the time. When you saw this video, this video still holds up technology-wise of being like, wow, all these years later when we have insane technology I would have never believed could have existed in 1985. The popularity of this, but the song is great. I think people just get, the song's one of the songs that's been oversaturated, so people lose the fact that like this song taken on its own is a great song. With the video, it's just next level. Take On Me. Look, you may be asking, why didn't you just play the music video, Sean? I thought about it. Richard didn't ask me to. I thought about it because it's so iconic. But the reason why I didn't is because when you watch a video, you cannot appreciate the song. Like, does this song stand alone? And this song does stand alone. This song is great. And I know, they might have got sick of playing it. They might have got sick of it in retrospect, but it put them on the map, at least worldwide. I know they've been successful overseas, from the States and everything for a long time. But man, this song is just so good. Every part of it. And this song I didn't mention at the start is number 600 on the all-time charts in America. Like the 600th most popular song of all time. That's insane when you wrap your head around it. The chorus, Take On Me, I've always wanted to know. Literally translated in their native Norwegian, it means touch me. So I think he's kind of saying, give me a chance, take on me, I'll be gone in a day or two. But the way Morten's vocal performance on this is next level, right? How high he's able to run through. And I've seen it in live performances. He's on some of the live streams we've done. Somebody requested it. And wow, man, like he could run it on the live versions too. This wasn't some sort of studio trick or 1,000 takes to try to get him there. Like he can do it, but all of it worked, man. Paul was on guitar, synths, drum programming, backing vocals. Magnum was on the synthesizers. So yeah, just a tremendous song that stands the test of time. I know it'll be number one on a lot of people's list. Let's see what Richard has at number 2. We have Manhattan Skyline from Scoundrel Days in 1986. Third single from that second album, the follow-up to Hunting High and Low, right? It reached number 13 in the UK. Magnus says, Manhattan Skyline was perhaps one of the most inspired cut-and-paste projects that Paul and I did. I wrote the quiet part, Paul wrote the rock part. I thought I was doing a classic when I was working on the opening riff. Well, okay, it is a classic, actually. Manhattan Skyline. Very similar to the sound of Hunting High and Low songs that we've listened to, right? Because it's only a year later. Obviously, I've never heard anything off this album. Really did like that. He's talking about he's leaving, right? We sit and watch umbrellas fly. I'm trying to keep my newspaper dry. I hear myself say, my boat's leaving now, so we shake hands and cry. Now I must wave goodbye, wave goodbye. And then, of course, I don't want to cry again. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to run away. I don't want to raise this pain. I'll never see your face again, so he's leaving. I don't really know if it's a friend or like a love interest. I'm not really sure, but same great synth. Morten sounds fantastic. Good choice there. And what do we have at number 1? Drum roll, please. You see it. Same album from Scoundrel Days in 1986. I've Been Losing You. The lead single off this album, number 1 in Denmark and Norway, number 8 in the UK. Sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Let's check out Richard's number 1 a-ha song. I've Been Losing You, Richard's number 1 a-ha song on his top 10 countdown. Really good song. Like I said, once again, 86, so a lot of the sounds of Hunting High and Low. A little sadder song here, right? It wasn't the rain that washed away, rinsed out the color of your eyes. Putting the gun down on the bedside table, I must have realized it wasn't the rain that made no difference. And I could have sworn it wasn't me, yet I did it all so coldly, almost slowly, plain for all to see. Oh, come on now. Oh, come on, please now, talk to me. Tell me things I could find helpful. How can I stop now? Is there nothing I can do now? I've lost my way. I've been losing you. So he did something to this person won't talk to him, and he's losing his way, right? He's desperate. He screwed up. He knows it, but it doesn't really turn out well here, right? We don't know what's going to happen here. So a good song, nice choice. for number 1, and a really good overall list, right? Like I said, I only knew 3 songs from a-ha, and really only 2 because I've only heard The Living Daylights one time before this. I'd heard a few of their other songs on live streams that I really liked. I don't think there were any of these, but I really did like this list. My honorable mentions are going to be Hunting High and Low and Stay on These Roads. My faves are going to be, it's predictable, guys. It's the 2 songs I knew. There's some sort of logic to that, right? The Sun Always Shines on TV and Take on Me. But there was none of these songs that I did not enjoy. It's a great list from Richard. Let me know what you thought of this list. Let me know your top a-ha songs. Anything else I should check out from these guys. But until next time, I will see you.